Welcome to the stories on Echoes of Revenge. Step into a world where love turns dangerous, revenge feels inevitable, and every story drags you deeper into the shadows of desire, betrayal, and the human heart. Let's begin today's story. My sister Victoria's charity gala was being held at the Metropolitan Club, all crystal chandeliers and old money elegance. I stood near the bar in a simple black dress while Victoria worked the room in custom Valentino, introducing her hedge fund manager husband to Manhattan's social elite. "And this is my sister, Dr. Sarah Chen," she said when a potential donor approached. "She works in some office downtown. Nothing glamorous, but she's very dedicated. I'm Dr. Sarah Chen, 39, and I'm the United Nations Undersecretary General for Peacekeeping Operations. I oversee 87,000 personnel across 12 active peacekeeping missions worldwide, manage a $6.8 billion annual budget, and report directly to the Secretary General. But to Victoria, I work in some office downtown." "What kind of office work?" the donor asked politely. "International relations," I said before Victoria could dismiss it further. "How interesting. Which company?" "The United Nations." "Oh." His interest visibly cooled. Victoria had already moved on, steering him toward someone more impressive. In her world, UN work meant entry-level administrative positions, not senior leadership coordinating global peace operations. I checked my phone discreetly. An encrypted message from my chief of staff. "Central African Republic, militia attack on peacekeepers. 3 wounded, situation contained. Full briefing uploaded to secure server." I stepped into the hallway to review the report. 3 of my peacekeepers injured but stable, local commander requesting additional support. I authorized medical evacuation and tactical reinforcement, typed responses to 4 different mission commanders and returned to the gala. Victoria caught my arm. "Really, Sarah? You're on your phone at my event. Work emergency." "It's always a work emergency with you. This gala matters. I've spent months planning it and you can't even pretend to be present." She lowered her voice. "Why did you even come if you're just going to hide in corners and check your phone? You invited me. Because you're family. But you make everything so awkward. Look at you, no date, no impressive career to discuss, just that vague office job that nobody understands or cares about." "I have a date," I said quietly. She blinked. "What?" "He's running late. Meeting ran over." "You never mentioned." She stopped, eyes narrowing. "What does he do?" "He works at the UN too." "Of course he does." Her disappointment was palpable. "Well, at least you found someone at your level." My phone buzzed. A text from Ambassador James Thornton. "Arriving in 10. Security team requested early sweep of venue. Hope that's all right." I smiled and typed back. "Fine with me. See you soon." Victoria returned to her guests, introducing her husband Robert to a real estate developer. "Robert manages $4 billion in assets," she was saying proudly. "We just closed the Lexington Tower deal." I knew about the Lexington deal. My office had reviewed it last month during due diligence for a Sudanese government official who was being investigated for corruption. Small world. The gala's main event was starting. Victoria on stage, welcoming everyone to her foundation's fundraiser for underprivileged children. Very noble, except I knew the foundation's overhead consumed 73% of donations. I'd seen the financial reports when our anti-corruption unit was investigating another board member. "My family has always believed in giving back," Victoria said, gesturing to our parents in the front row. "My father built his accounting firm through hard work. My mother dedicated herself to raising successful children." She smiled at Robert. "And my husband continues that legacy of excellence." She didn't mention me. I stood near the back, invisible as always. My phone vibrated. "Ambassador Thornton, security team at venue. Apparently there's a situation developing. They may need to extract you." I called him immediately, stepping outside. "What situation?" "Sarah, I can't discuss it on unsecure line. But my protective detail is requesting immediate evacuation of UN personnel from your location." "Are you at the Metropolitan Club?" "Yes." "What's happening?" "Credible threat to UN officials. Details classified. But you need to leave now." I looked back through the doorway at Victoria's gala. 200 guests, my parents, My sister on stage accepting applause for her charitable work. How immediate. Very. The security team is entering now. 6 men in dark suits materialized in the lobby, earpieces visible, moving with purposeful urgency I recognized from countless security briefings. The lead agent approached me directly. Dr. Chen? I'm Agent Morrison, UN Security. We need to evacuate you immediately. The lobby had gone quiet. Victoria's event coordinator rushed over. Excuse me, this is a private event. Ma'am, step aside. We're evacuating UN personnel under direct threat. Morrison's hand went to his earpiece. We have Dr. Chen. Extracting now. UN personnel? The coordinator looked confused. She's just Undersecretary General for Peacekeeping Operations, Morrison said curtly. Which makes her a high-value target. We're clearing the venue. Victoria appeared, her face flushed. What's going on? Sarah, what is this? Security threat. I need to leave. You're ruining my gala. Your sister is a UN Undersecretary General, Morrison said, his patience clearly thin. She oversees global peacekeeping operations and is currently a target of a credible threat. We're evacuating this venue. Everyone needs to leave. Now. The color drained from Victoria's face. Undersecretary General? Sarah works in some office. She works at UN headquarters, Morrison interrupted. She commands 87,000 peacekeepers, manages operations in 12 conflict zones, and sits on the Secretary General's senior leadership team. And someone just threatened her life. More security personnel were flooding into the gala. Guests were being ushered toward exits, Victoria's carefully planned event dissolving into controlled chaos. I don't understand, Victoria said faintly. Sarah, you never said. I did. Multiple times. You heard UN and international relations and decided it wasn't impressive enough to matter. I looked at Agent Morrison. How serious is the threat? Serious enough that we're evacuating the entire venue and establishing a secure perimeter. Ambassador Thornton is in the command vehicle. He wants to brief you personally. We moved toward the exit, security forming a tight circle around me. I could see my parents in the crowd, their faces shocked. Robert was arguing with another agent, demanding to know why his wife's event was being shut down. Outside, 3 armored SUVs waited, along with NYPD units blocking the street. Ambassador Thornton stood beside the center vehicle, his own security detail visible. Sarah, I apologize for disrupting your family event. What's the threat, James? Militia group in Central Africa. The same one that attacked our peacekeepers today. They've issued specific threats against senior peacekeeping leadership. Intelligence suggests they have operatives in New York. He gestured to the command vehicle. We need you in a secure location until we neutralize the threat. The gala had to be evacuated. You were in an unsecured public venue surrounded by civilians. That's unacceptable given the threat level. Victoria had followed us outside, still in her Valentino gown, her face a mixture of shock and fury. You shut down my gala. My biggest fundraiser of the year. Your sister's safety takes precedence over your fundraiser, Thornton said coolly. Then his expression softened slightly. Miss Chen, I understand this is disruptive. But your sister literally runs global peacekeeping operations. She has enemies, violent ones who want her dead. This isn't optional. She works at the UN, Victoria said weakly. She never said she was important. She's one of the most senior officials in the organization. 4th in the leadership hierarchy. She commands more personnel than most countries' entire militaries. Thornton turned to me. We need to move, Sarah. My parents had made it outside, Dad supporting Mom who looked ready to faint. Sarah. Dad's voice was uncertain. This man says you're an Undersecretary General? Stat. For Peacekeeping Operations. I have been for 3 years. But you said you worked at the UN. I do. I've worked there for 15 years. Started as a political affairs officer, worked up through mission leadership, became ASG for Africa, then USG for peacekeeping. I looked at Victoria. I've tried to explain my career. You just never listened past office job. You let us think, Victoria started. I let you think nothing. You assumed. When I mentioned briefing the Security Council, you changed the subject to Robert's bonus. When I said I was traveling to South Sudan, you asked if I was finally taking a vacation. When I showed you my UN diplomatic passport, you said, "How nice," and asked if I'd met anyone. Agent Morrison was getting urgent messages. "Dr. Chen, we really need to move." The threat, Mom managed. "Someone wants to hurt you?" Militia groups don't like peacekeepers who stop their operations. I've authorized missions that disrupted their funding, their weapons supplies, their territorial control. Yes, they want to hurt me. That's an occupational hazard. "Why didn't you tell us it was dangerous?" Dad asked. I did. 2 years ago, after the attack on our convoy in Mali. You said, "That sounds stressful," and suggested I consider less demanding work. Like maybe working for Robert's firm. Robert had appeared beside Victoria, his earlier confidence completely gone. "You command 87,000 people?" "Give or take, depending on active mission deployments. Current budget is $6.8 billion annually. My last briefing to the Security Council covered operations in Central African Republic, South Sudan, Mali, Democratic Republic of Congo, and 7 other active missions." I checked my phone. "And I have authorization requests from 3 mission commanders waiting for my approval right now." Ambassador Thornton guided me toward the vehicle. "Sarah, please." I looked back at Victoria's ruined gala, guests streaming out under police escort, her perfect society event transformed into a security operation. "I'm sorry about your fundraiser," I said. "But some of us have actual emergencies to handle." We drove to the UN's secure facility in Lower Manhattan, where I spent the next 4 hours coordinating with security teams, reviewing threat assessments, and ensuring all peacekeeping personnel worldwide were on heightened alert. The militia threat was eventually neutralized, operatives arrested by the FBI before they could act. By midnight, the crisis was contained. My phone showed 63 missed calls from family members. Messages from Victoria, my parents, even Robert. All variations of shock, apology, and desperate requests to talk. I responded to Victoria with one text. "Your gala raised how much?" My peacekeeping operations protect millions of civilians annually. Different scales of importance. Then I muted the family group chat and returned to work. Ambassador Thornton found me reviewing deployment reports. "Your family's still trying to reach you. They just discovered I'm not a failure. It's shocking for them. You command global peacekeeping operations. You've saved countless lives. How could they think? Because I'm single, I travel constantly for work they don't understand, and I don't fit their definition of success. Victoria married money. I stopped wars. Guess which one impressed them more?" He smiled sadly. "Until tonight. Until they needed UN security to evacuate a gala." I closed my laptop. "They'll apologize, James. They'll say they didn't know, didn't understand. But they had 15 years to ask. They chose not to. What will you tell them? That some office jobs matter more than charity galas. That success isn't measured in Valentino gowns and hedge fund assets." I stood. "And that the sister they dismissed as having a little office job outranks most government officials and commands operations that actually change the world." I left the secure facility at 2 a.m. and drove past the Metropolitan Club. The venue was dark, Victoria's gala long over, the success story she'd wanted to tell completely overshadowed by the sister she'd spent years pretending to pity, the one who actually mattered.